Today we're back for another Ranger video. I haven't forgot about you guys who asked about a season 1 review, so that's still coming very soon, but today we're going to be talking about something more on the relaxed side. This time we're going to be talking about some of my favorite theories for Ranger Reject. Some of them will be community theories that I've seen, and of course some will be my own. I do want to say ahead of time that I personally normally try not to get too deep into theories when it comes to my favorite manga, because I'm always afraid of either getting my expectations too high or guessing what's going to happen, and I really like surprises in storytelling. When it comes to predictions, I'm not really a big fan of the thing that I thought would happen being exactly what happens, but in Ranger's case, I think the story has gone on long enough and Negi has delivered more than enough times on the mysteries in this series, so I don't mind talking about that type of content anymore. With the intro out of the way, let's dive into it. Also, don't forget, if you enjoy the video, to like and subscribe, and be ready to tell me your own theories or if you completely disagree with any of my own. Alright, let's get started. First off, I want to talk about Ruyen, the little mascot dragon. Tell me what you guys think, but it's been absolutely killing me that Negi hasn't given us a scene yet where Ryu is in the same area as any of the executives. I think one of the most common theories is that Ryu is the dragon executive, and some people think that maybe he sold out his fellow executive monsters and gave information to the Rangers in exchange for his own safety. I think the likelihood of this being the case is extremely high. We know that the Rangers took out a majority of the executives and the dragon was among that list, but it's one of the few that we didn't see during the three-way battle arc when everyone was taking the invader juice and transforming into the executives. It would be really cool if we got a moment where Ryu was spotted by someone like Magatia or the Fusion and they were like, hey, what the hell are you doing with the Rangers? Like, I could see Magatia saying something like, and I'm supposed to be the snake, or something along those lines. The Ryujin theories don't stop there. The first part was a popular one that I had seen, but my own theory is that maybe Ryujin is an adolescent divine dragon, like the ones that empower the Suzak Kiri clan, and maybe it's either not ready to give off its power yet, or maybe it's the dragon that's paired with Yumiko's Suzak Kiri. One thing to remember is that the dragon tools are made of humans, more specifically the dragon priestess that were blessed with the power of the divine dragons, and Suzak Kiri is the last survivor, but she does have an ability of her own which involves shielding. So far, that's the extent of her power that we've seen, and other people have been shown using it, like Shogo, and also the prison that Yakushi used to keep Hisui and Hibiki was made using a replica of her power, something that Dai could have possibly come in contact with. And actually, while I'm at it, on the topic of Suzak Kiri, back when the Death Messiah was first shown during the TV broadcast with Yakushi, the first thing that came to my mind was that Suzak Kiri would be the one to revive it. For a long time, Suzak Kiri being the final villain was one of the theories that I had. These days, I'm not really too confident on that being the case, but she could very well be a major threat since she's collecting the dragon tools and seems to be pretty capable with them. I think that there are a few ways Suzak Kiri's story could go, but the most gruesome of them all would be if in her final moments, she's defeated and transformed into the 6th divine dragon artifact. Next up is Wendy. There's theories swirling around that Wendy is Imamatai, the Ram executive. I think the events that happened in the story around the time that Wendy was introduced make this a very strong theory. When first introduced, they talk about how much they were really looking forward to meeting Green Battalion's new recruits, who happen to be D and Angel Usakubo, an invader and someone with an executive inside of them. Wendy also has a weird headband that he wears that's oddly shaped like horns from a ram, and he has very unique eyes. I'm drawing a blank right now, but I don't think any other character besides the Sakurama family have special eyes, and Wendy's has stars in them. There's also this weird thing that gets mentioned whenever Wendy is around and when he leaves. Characters that saw him talk about how they seem familiar, or maybe they give him the creeps, or that they've just never seen this person before. D mentioned Imamatai's abilities being regeneration and amplification, and so far nothing that Wendy has done would be considered anything like that, but maybe there's also another ability that D wasn't aware of. There is another theory that I had, and it's based on something that someone in the Ranger Reject Discord said. I don't have any source to kind of back this up, but it was potentially with Wendy being the dragon executive. Someone in the Ranger Discord shared something about a dragon in sheep's clothing, and it made me think that what if Wendy was actually the dragon and was distributing the ram's meat as a misdirection, so that people would think that the ram was involved, but really they're just somewhere chained up and kind of being forced to, have their meat taken off by the dragon. That one I'd say is probably very unlikely, but just still wanted to put it out there. The last thing I wanted to say about Wendy / possibly Imamatai was another fan theory I saw, and it was about the way Hisui reacted when D mentioned Imamatai's name. When Green and Pink battalions go to the slums to find the source of the drug called Chop, D discovers Chop is the flesh of Imamatai the Ram, and humans are eating it to transform into it. D asks the old man where Imamatai is, and Hisui pauses, asks how the Ram is involved in all this, and kind of goes silent. It feels like there's more to her silence that wasn't really talked about or mentioned. And I want you to remember how Hisui became a ranger in the first place. Her family was killed and her home was destroyed by and Executive? What if Hisui knows for a fact that the executive behind that was Imamatai the Ram? She could have some real personal beef on a different level if that were the case, and since D said that they were one of the nicer executives, it could really create a rift between her and D's friendship if they, come face to face. I think a really interesting twist to this would be if Imamatai was there that day, but it was either a total accident that Hisui's house and family got wiped out, or if it was actually a reckless ranger who destroyed everything and they just blamed it on the executive. We know that this is possible because Sosei set the forest around Chidori's house on fire and said that he would just blame it on the invaders at the end of the day since no one was around to see. So it's very possible Hisui's battle that was started by invaders was actually started by the rangers. The part of that theory that I had saw from someone was just if Imamatai was the one that killed her family, so the rest of it was just stuff that I thought of afterwards, if you're wondering. Next up, I don't really have a lot to go off with this one, but I think the ghost script, D's new leg that he got from Yakushi, and the gym in the fortress are all going to play pretty big parts in the story as it continues to unfold. Wally Pun mentioned going off script at one point during the three-way battle arc on social media, and when his viewers asked, what script? He goes, oops, I shouldn't have said that. Later we find out that Sane was working on a script that she called the ghost script for the old Rangers TV show, and she was killed over it. It's possible Wally Pun told Yakushi about it, and it's one of the things he kept a surprise for D, like the secret weapon hidden within his new peg leg. At first I thought D would maybe eat some invader flesh, like from Yakushi or something, to get his body back to normal after his leg was crushed, until Yakushi gave him that spike. For now, I think with time it'll just incorporate itself into D's body, but maybe it could eventually become a way for him to make his body sturdier. Sort of like how the main character of the manga, Land of the Lustrous, was a fragile gemstone, but through the process of combining other harder stones to their body, they were able to become far tougher. I can see the same thing happening once the leg fully fuses with D. P.S. I'm surprised we've never seen D looking like in the mirror and transforming into, say, a black dragon keeper, just to see what it would look like. I feel like we gotta get that soon. For true villains of the series, I think most people expect it to be the yellow dragon keeper, and I'm pretty satisfied if that happens to be the case, but I think Peltrola is also a very likely candidate. He's just a really slimy and slippery character, and his ability allows him to continuously gain strength, so I can see him being the one in the end who is the final roadblock to conquer, and there's no chance at him ever being won over. It's a hard sell, but I can see Shinya either being defeated or having all his resources stripped from him, or maybe his dreams and ideals get crushed to the point where he no longer wants to fight, but I can't say the same for Peltrola. Speaking of Shinya, I think he is Sosei's main target. I foresee a future battle between Sosei and Shinya coming real soon, and I have strong feelings that Chidori will probably get involved too, and maybe even Suzak Kiri, since this would be her best shot at taking down the Dragon Keepers while she has so many people willing to take down the top dog that's doing all the mad science stuff in the background. Like I said, I think Red main target is Yellow, but I'd be surprised if he didn't also have the Kuroko from Pink Battalion in his sights too, or at least whoever leads them, if not Pink or Yellow themselves. At some point, if Suzak Kiri isn't killed off, I think it's safe to say she'll get at least one more Divine Dragon tool. How I think that will come to take place is Chidori, after saying he's going to end the Dragon Keepers, he's probably already made up his mind that he's going to return the weapons to Suzak Kiri once all of this is over. I think the way it'll actually end up happening though is that they'll be fighting side by side, and Chidori will fall and before dying tell her that he was going to give it to her eventually, but looks like now's the time as he passes away. The last theory I wanted to talk about concerns Sosei and Soshi. So there's been some confusing bits in the story here and there when it comes to Sosei. He has this fragmented memory and can remember getting the role as the Red Dragon Keeper for the Rangers show and having a sister that looked up to him and stuff like that. Every time we see these scenes, it's hard to make out anything that's going on, and the sister has parts of her face blurred out, so you can kind of see some, but not really. There's also the whole who the hell is Soshi thing, because in the TV broadcast, it says that Akabane Soshi is arrested. When Sosei has the flashbacks, people are saying congrats Sosei for becoming the Red Dragon Keeper, but then in the current timeline, Sane calls him Soshi when she stabs him. I'll be honest, it's all very confusing to me even now, but I think I'm starting to piece some of it together, not all of it. For starters, I think some of Sosei's memories are absolutely wrong. We know that Yellow has been fiddling with him whenever he makes a new Sosei, but how far does that go really? Alright, so I'll spit it out. I think that Soshi and the sister that Sosei remembers are the same siblings, and that they are the offspring between one of the dragon priestesses and a man that they maybe fell in love with. Hear me out for a second. If you remember during the flashback in the woods that Suzak Kiri had, there was a girl with a similar hairstyle there to the sister that's shown, and also in the flashback with Dai. He is a small-bodied girl in a tank filled with some sort of liquid, and her hair looks also the same as Sosei's sister. I think that whoever the original Soshi or Sosei is, let's say Soshi, he and his sister are half Suzak Kiri, and that also explains how Sosei is able to be cloned. And take it a step further, Sosei is the first person we see that's able to reach that final power form with the dragon tool where he's fiddling with it mid-fight, and then it gives him the ultimate power that we haven't seen before. Someone pointed out that it looks like Yellow used it too in an earlier earlier chapter, but it's possible that he forced the tool to bend to his will if that were the case. But we know that the dragons have their own will. I think it blessed him because it can sense that he was a descendant of the Suzak Kiri clan, and at some point, Soshi in the past was either framed or really did go to jail for murder. But Shinya, knowing who he was, a Suzak Kiri descendant, maybe had him killed, but not before stealing some of his DNA so that he can clone him, give him a new name, and alter some of his memories so that he would never find out, and continue being the strong face of the Rangers so that no one would ever suspect him to be this evil, sick mastermind in yellow. So I'm sorry to cut it short, but that's going to be it for this video. Please let me know your thoughts below. If any of these theories sound like BS to you, or if you think I'm spitting on some, let me know, man. Of course, make sure to like and subscribe so YouTube knows who to push these videos to so I can get more views. And be on the lookout for more videos. I'll see you again real soon. Thanks for watching.